Nowadays, everyone is asking ChatGPT for help in solving their problems. We are trying to outsource our creativity to a silicon-based friend, especially when we just don't know where to start or we feel stuck. But there is a hidden resource, extremely creative, easily accessible, perfectly secure, that is hardly ever utilized. When it is utilized, it could yield great results. You just need to nap as Salvador Dalí or Thomas Edison. Or go deeper into that rabbit hole and instead of prompting ChatGPT to solve your problems, prompt your own dreams. Salvador Domingo Felipe Dalí and allegedly also Thomas Edison both had a similar interesting technique to boost their creativity. Whenever they found themselves stuck or in the need of a more unorthodox solution, they went for a nap. Instead of a cozy bed, they picked a sitting position and an object to hold in their hands. As soon as they started sleeping, and their brain switched to the first sleeping phase called N1, the object was released, causing noise and brutal wakefulness. As soon as they were awake, they started working, utilizing a sudden and huge bump in creativity, basically speedrunning the Eureka moment. A study from 2021 with a bit spoiler alerty title "Sleep Onset is a Creative Sweet Spot" tried to dig deeper into that. Researchers exposed participants to multiple mathematical problems with the same pattern to reveal the solution. The plot twist was that there was a hidden rule, a secret pattern, allowing to solve the riddle almost instantly. Here you have the rules explanation. Bear in mind that each set of 8 digits were picked from 3 numbers, 1, 4, and 9.
Report the same digit if the previous and next digits are identical, and the remaining third digit if they are different. Unbeknownst to them, the second response was always the final solution. Hidden rule allowing them to answer much faster.
The hidden rule was there in every single training task the participants had to do to prepare for the experiment. After the preparation, they were instructed to relax with their eyes closed in a reclined position while holding an object, Edison style. They were also monitored, so researchers could see who was fully awake, who went into the N1 phase, and who dived into the deeper N2 phase. After the relaxation time, the participants were asked to go back to the digits, and boy oh boy, N1 group was just nailing it. Spending at least 15 seconds in N1 during a resting period tripled the chance to discover the hidden rule. What is interesting, this effect vanished if subjects reached deeper sleep. It looks like indeed there is a creative sweet spot just on the edge of being awake and dreaming, but sleep is not made of just 2 phases. It's a complex beast of a cycle. That's why the N2 cut in creativity observed in that publication was intriguing. The brain is going into multiple cycles during the night, and it looks like all those cycles, even after N2, can provide some creative insights. And we have Nobel Prizes to back this up. August Kekule was a German chemist trying to figure out the chemical structure of benzene. The problem he was tackling was nicely described by an article from Bonn University.
In the 19th century, the scientific community puzzled over how the atoms in the mysterious compound benzene were arranged. This aromatic molecule soon proved to have a surprisingly simple structure. It consisted of 6 carbon and 6 hydrogen atoms. But how could these 12 atoms arrange themselves in space to form a chemically stable object?
One night, Kekule fell asleep and welcomed a dream where the atoms started to dance in front of his eyes. Some atoms become snakes, and one particular snake bit their own tail and started to rotate and spin. August abruptly woke up, not because of the fear of snake, but to work. The benzene structure was a closed ring. Sadly, Kekule died before the first Nobel Prize was awarded, but out of 5 first Nobel Prizes in chemistry, his students received 3. That's something. Otto Loewi was more lucky. In 1920, he dreamt about an experiment designed to test the hypothesis from 17 years ago. According to Loewi, I got up immediately, went to the laboratory, and performed a simple experiment on a frog heart, according to the nocturnal design. The dream led to the discovery that the primary language of nerve cell communication is chemical, not electrical. Boom! Nobel Prize. Dmitry Mendeleev, the guy behind the periodic table, also saw the table structure first in a dream.
I saw in a dream a table where all elements fell into place as required. Awakening, I immediately wrote it down on a piece of paper. Only in one place did a correction later seem necessary.
Boom! Nobel Prize. I mean, almost. He could smell the ink on the decorated diploma. He was so close. But it's not about Nobel Prizes. It's about the dreams helping us left and right, not only in science. William Blake was instructed in a dream by his imaginary teacher how to use new painting and engraving techniques that he employed in his real work. Architects Lucy Davis and Solange Fabio have both dreamed of multiple buildings before making them real. Paul McCartney dreamed the song Yesterday and was so perplexed about this nocturnal discovery that he went around asking people whenever it is a known piece of music. But it is not only rock star scientists and nerdy artists. In 1892, Charles Child asked 186 college students if they ever had a dream that solved their problem. 1/3 said that they had. The problems ranged from a chess game move to detecting a bookkeeping error. But there was always a common theme to all those dreamy solutions. Two common themes, actually. Dr. Barrett, a well-known dream researcher, said that two kinds of problems are likelier to get solved by dreams. Anything that is visual spatial, and anything that requires unorthodox thinking. Let's focus on the visual aspect first. Indeed, most of the dream examples from before that solve a problem were very visual, since our dreams are very visual. We tend to think that our dream visions are just imagination, but it is way more than that. An amazing publication from 2018 shed some light on this. Researchers recruited lucid dreamers, so people who are aware that they are dreaming and can control their dreams. Instructions were pretty easy. To follow a moving object with their eyes. Participants had to do that when they were fully awake with their eyes open, awake with eyes closed, so basically imagine the object to track, and during a dream. There is a specific difference between eyes tracking movement when the object is in front of us or if it is just flying in our imagination. Visual stimulus produces a smooth pursuit motion, while the imagined object is tracked with a more saccadic, rapid movements. And what kind of motion was produced during a dream? Smooth as butter. The authors of the study conclude that our findings suggest that, in this respect, the visual imagery that occurs during REM sleep is more similar to perception than imagination. This makes sense when it comes to solving a problem that requires more visual aspect. During our waking hours, we were just not able to visualize the complexity of the problem with our limited imagination. In dreams, our imagination is basically vision, and when the story of our dream is focused on a specific issue, the vision can bring some very needed insights. Kekule dream is a perfect example. The dream had to provide a different framework, free from the common knowledge limitations, but still relevant enough to be useful. And that's possible because the frontal and prefrontal cortices are less active during that nightly voyages. Those parts of the brain are responsible, among other things, for applying logic and order to our thinking process. So it looks like our brain is basically switching to a different thinking state that is a way more visual and less concerned with common knowledge. But it is still a thinking state, so when prompted properly, more on that at the end, it is trying to solve our wakey-wakey brain problems. This could be amazing, but also dangerous. First of all, we need to understand what the dreamy brain is trying to tell us. Professor William Dement published a paper with a perfect example. He asked 500 undergraduates to read brain teasers problems before going to bed and note if they had a dream providing a solution that night. Students reported 1,148 attempts. Out of that, 87 dreams were somehow tackling the problem but without generating any solution. 7 students actually dreamed a solution, which is really amazing. But more fascinating are the cases of a dreamed solution that the awake brain just missed. Here you have an example of a brain teaser. HIJKLMNO. What one word does this sequence represent? You can pause the video here if you want to try to figure it out. 3, 2, 1. And you can clearly see letters from H to O. The answer is water, H2O. And then check this report from a study subject. I had several dreams, all of which had water somewhere, with vivid description of the water in each dream. His answer to the riddle? Alphabet. Despite providing the answer on a silver plate, the awake brain was just not able to pick up the clue. Just imagine the facepalm the dreamy brain had to perform when it heard the final reported answer. The next 5 dreams were probably about some kind of vague but big disappointment. But even if we think that we understood the solution, our dreams should still come with a warning similar to hallucinations generated by ChatGPT. Our dreams can generate incorrect, misleading, or biased information. A good example came from a study published by the already mentioned Dr. Barrett. During the experiment, participants were supposed to incubate their dreams to address problems they picked from themselves. To no one's surprise, a majority of those problems were of a personal nature. With a proper incubation technique, out of 76 participants, 37 dreamed about the problem, and 25 people from that group believed that the dream contained some kind of a solution. Those alleged solutions were evaluated by judges as well, who only could objectively agree on 19 cases. Still a really nice high number, but also a red flag. Why some dreams were providing solutions when evaluated by the dreamers, but not when evaluated by judges? And, what is more important, were those solutions any good? The answer to both questions is, it's complicated and it depends, mainly because dreams are so wildly subjective and chaotic by nature. Sometimes the solution is straightforward, sometimes it is random. We can easily get a solution equivalent of the famous Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy 42. And as in the book, it's up for us to get the question straight first. Let me use an example. Let's start with an easy one. The problem was based on the major issues with the menstrual cycle of one of the participants. Her doctor was not able to figure out what's going on, but then the dream appeared.
My doctor told me I was having a reaction from being on a diet and exercising more than I ever have. In the dream, my doctor gave me medicine to correct this, and I would be fine if I took this medicine. In waking life, he did ask about diet, and I didn't tell him how much I'm dieting. He's never asked about exercise. I guess I should tell him about the diet and exercise, huh?
Pretty straightforward. An actionable solution. Nicely done, sleepy brain. But what about this problem?
My boyfriend plans to join the army full-time after graduation. He's in the reserves right now. He has asked me to marry him and wants me to go with him wherever he is assigned. I don't know if I want to be an army wife. I am very scared and confused about what to do.
It was followed by 3 dreams. The first one:
we were with his mother and her 7 foster children. We were happy and holding hands.
And in the second one:
we were at the country club where I work having our wedding reception. Everyone was laughing and dancing, just having a good time.
This could look like a solution to the dreamer. But then, several nights later, the participants had another vivid dream.
We were about to get married, and I was begging the people that were with me not to make me do it. I kept saying, please don't make me do it. I don't want to marry him. Please. I remember feeling very frightened and very alone. I felt like if I married him, my life would end.
It is dangerous to blindly listen to the advisor if they can give you 2 opposing solutions within a couple of days, especially if your wedding happens between those 2 opposing dreams. The problem the participant tried to tackle with dream incubation was just too complex, emotionally charged, to provide any testable solution, even if the participants thought that one was provided. The author of the publication said that the situation was especially difficult since the study was done at a religious college, and several of the responders had a firm conviction that the dream and the solution came from God. It is hard to not see a dream as the final answer or the final solution if it came directly from the boss. But this danger can be mitigated. As we mentioned before, when we pick a problem to work on, it's better to pick something visual that requires creativity, but also have an objectively valid solution. This way, we could utilize the specific state of our brain processing without having to worry about our ego or random emotions changing the results. A good example is Srinivasa Ramanujan, a top mathematician from India. He claimed that his mathematical proofs came to him in his dream. He believed that those solutions were given to him by the goddess Namagiri, because he was taught to ask her for dreams. Again, creative, possibly highly visual solution, but it doesn't matter if the Vishnu himself high-fived Srinivasa after giving him the proof, since he was able to write it down and check the dreamed solution after waking up. So it was great for Srinivasa, maybe it will be great for you. But how exactly can you prompt your dreams? Again, I need to use Dr. Barrett's work since she is amazing. In her American Scientist article, she's listing the dream incubation technique.
Write down the problem as a brief phrase on a notepad and place the notepad by the bed. You can also arrange related objects where you can see them from the bed. Review the problem for a few minutes just before bedtime. Once in bed, visualize the problem as a concrete image if possible. As you drift off to sleep, tell yourself you want to dream about the problem. Visualize yourself dreaming about the problem, awakening, and writing on the notepad. Upon awakening, lie quietly in bed and note whether there is any trace of a recalled dream, inviting more of the dream to return if possible. Write it down.
If you want to try this technique, just remember about the limitations of the dreaming brain solutions. Mark Blackgrove, mentioned a couple of times in my last video, argues that dreams, by their very nature, cannot solve a problem. He said that the place for problem solving is the waking social world. But dreams can provide unique insights, sometimes required for the big breakthrough. We just need to know how to steer and interpret those creative visions so that both our brains, the daily and nightly, can work as a team. And of course, if you decide to try it out, let me know how it worked for you. See you in the next video.